Many people chant the name of the Buddha and chant mantras to seek wealth. They think that chanting the name of the Buddha and mantras will eliminate karma. When the poverty karma is eliminated, things will change. What should we do if the poverty karma is eliminated and there is not enough wealth and blessings to manifest? Use these 3 instances as a reference. There was a very powerful translator in Tibet named Ralyozawa. He was very poor for a period of time. He practiced the god of wealth Dharma for 3 years in order to seek wealth. But he could not even see the god of wealth. The translator was very angry and prepared to burn the god of wealth. At this time, the god of wealth appeared and replied, "If I had met you before, I would not have been able to help you get the achievements and wealth you wanted. Because you did not have any good causes of giving, and no merit in your previous life. So my appearance won't be any help for you." But Jalozawa still had to ask the god of wealth to give him wealth. The god of wealth had no choice but to ring the bell to attract wealth. In the end, only a small gold ornament appeared. Jalozawa said, "Why do I only get such a small amount of gold?" The god of wealth said, "You didn't have any cause of give alms in your previous life. However, you can get such a small amount of gold today. Because you accidentally fell down while carrying tsampa powder on your back in your previous life. And some tsampa powder fell on the ground. Happened to be eaten by insects. Because of the fate of accidentally giving to the insects, you can get this little gold today. Otherwise you will get nothing." Once upon a time, 2 brothers became monks together. The elder brother diligently observes the precepts every day, participates in meditation, but neglects to cultivate merit. The younger brother, on the contrary, often does good deeds, performs charity extensively, makes offerings to the 3 jewels, and accumulates a lot of merit, but does not pay attention to studying scriptures and listening to the Dharma, and cannot strictly observe the precepts. There are many destructive precepts. Later, elder brother became a disciple of the Buddha after reincarnation, and achieved arhat status. However, because he did not know how to practice alms in his previous life, hunger and cold had been bothering him. The younger brother, because of his emphasis on practice alms in his previous life, was reincarnated as an elephant wearing silk and satin and adorned with jewelry. He was deeply favored by the king. The king named the elephant the king of 100 households, and many people feed it with delicacies. There was a little hunchback who was born a beggar. He suffered from poverty since childhood and later became an arhat. Because he was thin, ugly, and hunchbacked, his parents called him Little Hunchback. This little hunchback's mother made a living by begging. Because of the karma of the little hunchback, his mother often begged for no food from the day she was pregnant. Her milk dried up a few days after giving birth to the little hunchback. She often couldn't find other food to raise the little hunchback. It was very hard for the little hunchback to grow up. When the little hunchback grew up, he started begging on his own. But due to his karma, he often couldn't get food. Every time he was about to starve to death, he could barely get a little bit of food to survive. It was extremely painful both physically and mentally. Later, even if he became a monk and received offerings together with the monks, he often could not get food due to various reasons. Therefore, the Buddha made a precept. Until the monks above get food, the monks below cannot receive food. Although the Buddha helped him, the little hunchback still often had no food to eat. Even when he went to the city to beg, he often came back empty. Finally he achieved arahantship. Although he is already an arhat, he still has to bear the consequences of his karma. No matter how venerable Ananda, Moggallana, and relics used their magical powers to help the little hunchback get food, they would not be able to get it because of the little hunchback's karma. On the seventh day of hunger, the little hunchback entered nirvana. It is recorded in Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's original vow sutra that the karma is so great that it can rival Sumeru, reach the depths of huge seas, and obstruct the holy path. It talks about the incredible karma of all living beings. If you don't get any response when you ask Buddha and Bodhisattva to help you, it's not because Buddha and Bodhisattva don't help you, but because Buddha and Bodhisattva's magical powers are no match for our own karma, and Buddha and Bodhisattvas cannot violate the law of cause and effect when using their magical powers. There is a passage recorded in the interpretation of the Deep Tantric Sutra. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, if all the Bodhisattvas have all the endless treasures to achieve great compassion, why are all living beings in the world so poor?" The Buddha told Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, "Good man, it is the fault of all sentient beings, because of their own karma. If not, the Bodhisattva always has the intention of benefiting others and is always endowed with endless treasures. If all sentient beings have no bad karma to hinder them, poverty in the world can be obtained. For example, a hungry ghost is driven by great heat and thirst, and sees that all the sea water has dried up. It is not the fault of the ocean, but the fault of the hungry ghosts. In this way, the treasures given by Bodhisattva are like the ocean without fault, and all living beings one's own karma is like a hungry ghost's own bad karma that brings no results." Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's original vow sutra says, "Thieves. It is said that poverty brings suffering. The following are also the reasons why people feel poor and rich." The Buddha said, asked by the Pure Mind Upasai Sutra, "There is a class of men and women in the world who are frugal and do not provide food, drink, clothing, bedding, medicine, shelter, beds, or even incense to recluses, Brahmins, etc. Due to this cause and condition, eventually the body break down and fall into the lower realms and suffer the hells. Suffer the full retribution in hell, even if can become a human again. Will be born in poverty and deprivation. Pure mind, you should know that the cause of frugal is the result of poverty. There is a certain type of men and women in the world who are not frugal in mind and often give food, clothing, bedding, medicine, shelter, bed seats, and even incense and powdered incense to recluses and Brahmins. Due to this cause and condition, when the body be destroyed and eventually be reborn in a good destination, and get the body of a deity in heaven. When the retribution in heaven be fulfilled, will be reborn into rich and comfortable in the next life in the human world. Pure mind, you should know the wealth and fruit from not being frugal. Why is it said that giving to a Brahmin can also make you feel rich? Brahmin is the highest caste in India, and its income and social status are very noble. Does they still need others to donate? Do you see such a question mark here? It is easier to understand if we think of Brahmin as referring to a good person. The reason why modern Brahmins are considered to be of noble status is because of their extensive knowledge system and lofty spiritual realm. A successful Brahmin will use his knowledge to benefit society. In fact, most Brahmins are vegetarians. It is also recorded in the Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's original vow sutra that Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva was born as a Brahmin in the past. Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, who was a Brahmin woman at that time, knew that her mother did not believe in cause and effect and she was alive and would fall into evil paths after death. So she sold her mother property to donate for her mother blessed. She made great offerings for her mother in the pagoda temple of King Jigme Phuntsok. Because of the merits of her charity and offerings, her mother and other sinners in hell were freed from the suffering of hell and reborn in heaven. In the Buddha said 42 chapters sutra, it is recorded, alms and offerings 100 ordinary people are not as good as one good person. Alms and offerings 1,000 good people are not as good as one person who upholds the 5 precepts. Virtues vary in size, and obstacles vary in thickness. Therefore, the blessings obtained by making offerings are different. And the reward of making offerings to the Buddha is also the greatest, because the Buddha, with his great compassion, helps all living beings. And his blessings are profound, wide, and inconceivable. If the economy is really bad and financial resources are limited, I would suggest trying to choose the largest field of blessing and sow seeds with sincerity. $1 or $2 are also fine. But I don't recommend giving $1 or $2 directly to beggars. Because I have given 1 yuan to a beggar. He was very happy when he saw me take out the money, but when I put it down and it was 1 yuan, he turned into an unhappy face. This will hurt your sincerity in giving money to beggars. When you can only give 1 yuan, you have to give at least 10 yuan, otherwise you won't get a good look. So, if the amount you donate is relatively small, I suggest you plant it in a blessed field where you don't need to see people's reactions. And you can donate a small amount of money. The Buddha said 42 chapters sutra, poverty makes it difficult to give alms. If you can't even give out a piece of money, there are ways to help you. As long as you meet the conditions of really being unable to give out money, you can refer to the actions of the protagonist in the following case. There is a story in the Sutra of Shenyu. During the Buddha's time, an elder had a son named Baotian. When Baotian was born, it rained 7 treasures from the sky, and his home was filled with 7 treasures. In his past life, Baotian was very poor during the time of Buddha Vipassana. But he wanted to make offerings. But he really had no money, so he found a bunch of white stones that looked like pearls and visualized them as jewelry. Sprinkled them to the monks as offerings, and made great vows. The poor man at that time is now Baotian. As a result of offering the white stone, he received immeasurable blessings during the 91 kalpas, including many treasures and natural food and clothing. This Baotian monk later became an arhat. Although there is no record of what kind of great vow Baotian Bhikkhu made at that time, the Buddha said that it was because of his faith and respect in the past, and he held a white stone like a pearl to disperse the monks. Even for 91 kalpas, he would receive immeasurable blessings, abundant wealth, natural food and clothing, no shortage of things. It was because he had faith and respect at that time.
天上天下无如风，世间最爱我是佛。求佛求佛，念佛念佛，请救我出魔罗网。请赐予我黄金屋，请接引我上极乐。